Hi everyone, Mr. Neff here. We're going to talk about some of the history of forces today. And this is today's talk is going to reveal some misconceptions that you have about forces and their effects, because your everyday experience doesn't always give you the full treatment. It doesn't always let you see exactly what's happening. There was an educational piece that was made by the Scandinavians several years ago called the Force Concept Inventory, and I have it here for you. It's been translated into many languages, and it's used by lots of physics teachers. In fact, if you had the honors physics class last year, even in my class or some of the other teachers, we use this thing to show people what they know and maybe what they need to try to leave behind as far as misconceptions. What I would like you to do is I would like you to try to answer the 7 questions right now. I'm asking you to stop the video, pause it right here. You'll be able to see the questions before I write the answers, and I want you to just see how well you do. You'll see what this is about. Remember, it came from Scandinavia, so there's 7 forces that are on a frictionless sled. The person isn't experiencing frictionlessness. They are wearing some spiked shoes. And you can see here that they can apply a force to the sled to the right, either with an increasing magnitude, a constant magnitude, or a decreasing magnitude. That's A, B, and C. They can apply no force to the sled at all, or they can apply a force to the left in E, F, and G, either decreasing in magnitude, increasing in magnitude, or a constant strength. There's also choice J. There's no choice I on this, but there's choice J, and none of these are correct. So again, I would like you to pause the video right here and try your best to answer these. Okay, we're back, and I trust that you took a shot at answering these questions now, and let's see what we got. Number 1 says, which force would keep the sled moving toward the right and speeding up at a steady rate? Most important part is the steady rate, the constant acceleration. That's going to be B that's going to do that. A lot of people think A is the answer on that. Which force would keep the sled moving to the right at a steady rate? A lot of people think that's B, but that one's actually D. You don't need a force to keep that moving. If it's on frictionless ice, it'll just move on its own just fine. The sled is moving toward the right. Which force would slow it down at a steady rate? If it's moving to the right, you need a force to the left to do that. And if you want a steady rate, you need a steady force. And so that's going to be F is going to do that. A lot of people end up thinking that that's E or G. Some people think D on that too, that it'll just slow down on its own. Which force would keep the sled moving toward the left and speeding up at a steady rate? Moving toward the left and speeding up at a steady rate, well, that's going to need to be a constant force to the left, and so that one's going to be F. 5 says the sled started from rest and pushed it until it reached a steady constant velocity toward the right. Which force would keep it moving at the constant velocity? You don't need a force to keep it moving at constant velocity. So that'll be D. The sled is slowing down at a steady rate and has an acceleration to the right. Well, that means the force is to the right. And if we're slowing down at a steady rate, then we must have a force to the right with a steady rate. And so that's going to be B, constant force to the right. And the sled is moving toward the left. Which force would slow it down? Well, that would mean we'd need to push to the right, and we'd have to have a steady force because we want a steady rate, a constant acceleration. And that would also be B. So you can see how you did there. Sometimes people do much more poorly than they think they would, just because of some misconceptions that they've always had. Some people do a nice job on it, and I hope you did too. Maybe this is some motivation to stay with us for the whole unit.